Woods is really an example of perfection when it comes to peak performance. Our unconscious conditioning is hardwired into our brains. A conditioned thought often feels as if it's thinking you rather than you thinking it. We often cannot verbalize what that thought says, but we can look at our behaviors and reactions in order to define it.
In the emerging field of peak performance, individuals are discovering more scientific and tangible ways of tapping into greater levels of human potential.
My work in Snap Out of It Now is all about this rewiring of the brain to support you in whatever you are trying to achieve. Too many of us have struggled to achieve while the hard wiring of our brain has worked against us. I want our brains to be working for us, not against us.
Dr. Adrienne Ahern is a professional speaker and performance psychologist. With a background in clinical psychology, she takes an innovative approach to peak performance, combining the disciplines of performance psychology, meditative breathing, and neurofeedback, using leading-edge technology to help people train their brains for higher and higher levels of performance.
Very likely right here at this convention center, there are women who have flunked out of mathematics, but have mastered financial statements. For the past several years, I've worked with athletes, business folks, and educators. And they come to me with a variety of goals: better athletic performance, less stress and anxiety, even weight loss. In every case, our initial work is to rewire the counterproductive hardwiring of past conditioning. The rewiring of the brain takes some conscientious effort, some persistence. A brain pattern that's been active for 40+ years doesn't just disappear in the first minute or two. But I've seen some pretty incredible results with those who stick with it. See, the thing is that you have to identify your specific story that's ruling your life, that's holding you back. You see, if you want to recast these stories, you first have to bring them up into consciousness. A business client of mine moved from feeling inadequate and totally incapable of handling projects over $1 million. And now he's able to handle multi-million-dollar projects with confidence and ease. And his relationship with his wife has improved, along with his overall sense of well-being and health. A client of mine who's a competitive golfer wanted to lower her handicap. She went from a 15 to a 9. And as a byproduct of her mental training, she no longer suffers from insomnia. A business client of mine moved from feeling inadequate and ill-equipped to writing and publishing the book that had been in her heart for years. You see, too many of us have struggled to achieve while the hard wiring of our brain is working against us. So here's the good news. As brain scientists probe the limits of neuroplasticity, we are finding that the brain can change as a result of the thoughts we think. Time Magazine, January 2007. So what we know now is that we have the capacity to rewire our brains with new neural pathways, new thoughts and attitudes. I call this process rewiring the counterproductive conditioning, changing negative thought patterns, breaking free from our 12 by 12 invisible cages, and freeing the Mohini within ourselves.
Dr. Ahern believes our brains have been conditioned with specific attitudes and patterns that cause us to respond in specific ways. She works with top-level athletes, CEOs, and individuals seeking higher levels of performance to break self-limiting patterns. In her keynotes and workshops, Dr. Ahern offers specific and proven tools people can use immediately to begin the rewiring process and train our brains to work for us, not against us.
Breathing is the key to the effectiveness of most of my techniques. But let me tell you a story. There are these two monks meditating high up in the higher altitudes of the Himalayan mountains. There's a mentor and his student, and they just finished their 3-hour morning meditation. They were walking to the breakfast table. And as they're walking to the breakfast table, the student looks up at his mentor and says, "Breathing is so boring." And his mentor looks at him